Hello, I wanted to talk today a little bit about manufacturer's warranties. I'm Bob Fanelli with Riverview Homes, and I'm here at our Butler location on Route 422. I'm sitting in a nice Cavco house and wanted to go over the ins and outs of warranties. Every new product, no matter what it is, has some sort of warranty. Housing is no different. Some stick builders use like insurance carrier type of warranty. The manufactured home industry uses those same things for extended warranties, after the first year. Real estate agents, if you buy an existing house, you can purchase some sort of warranty program. Typically in that, when you're buying an existing house, the previous homeowner doesn't have any liability, but you can buy various products that will cover some things. The most important part of the warranty, and I'll speak to our industry because I really don't know a whole lot about the other industries. Our manufacturers have a 1-year warranty from the time the house is delivered to you. And that warranty is a written warranty. I have a copy of one here, and you can see that it's rather detailed, and they go into all the ins and outs of things that are covered by them, things that are covered by, like appliances, for example, are covered by their individual manufacturers. They have their own separate warranties. There's certain structural defects that would and would not be covered. And of course, as a homeowner, and you're living in the home, you have a certain amount of responsibility as well. So, things that maybe you damage or, are damaged because of wear and tear or use, they're not going to be covered. The documents go into great detail about what they will and won't do. As a dealer, our job is trying to mediate that area where what's reasonable. And Riverview has always tried to always take the side of reasonable and look at it like, if this was my house, if I was living there, would I or would I not have expected this, and would I or would I not expect it to be fixed? That's always the question that we find ourselves asking. We've been in business for 50 years, so we have relationships with these manufacturers that go back decades. So in a lot of cases, they respect our opinion, and work gets done that technically by the book maybe should not have been. But the warranties, again, are very detailed, and they've been building houses, most of these manufacturers, for more than 50 years. So they're well experienced with what does and doesn't go wrong, and the product is much improved certainly over the last 15 or 20 years, but certainly since 1976 or so, when HUD was installed, the HUD building code. And the HUD building code regulates a lot of what the warranty says. There's really not a governing agency for site-built housing, for example, or real estate sales, for example, where there's a government institution that's regulating how services run, who runs service, what types of things should be covered. There's also a resolution apparatus where, if you disagree with the manufacturer or the dealer on what is or isn't covered, there's a pathway to get that resolved. That's not quite a lawsuit. There's a much easier path to travel if you get that far, and the plan is to not ever need those types of tools, but they're available and they're mandated by the government. Few other, particularly in the housing industry, few other businesses have that type of infrastructure around it concerning warranty and service. Now, is the house perfect? No. Have we made every customer 100% happy? No. There's always things that'll be in dispute and people will disagree with. But our goal is always to get you the best possible house and make you as happy and comfortable in it as possible. And the manufacturers do a fairly good job of trying to reach that same goal. A lot of the service today is run by the factory. As it's gotten more and more difficult to hire craftsmen to go out on the job, and it's become more and more difficult as far as vetting people that are going to be going into people's homes, who that person is and what background that person has. All those things have made it much more difficult to hire reliable, talented people. So the factories over the years, the last 10 years in particular, are running more and more of the everyday service. Though we employ a full-time service guy, and he runs a lot of calls, and that's the best way to do it. I mean, if you have a trusted employee that's talented, we're going to get to that problem a lot quicker than the factory, just because of distance and and backlog and things of that nature. So we try not to involve the factory if we don't have to, but sometimes we have to. The other thing that we run into a lot is parts. Again, as the world has changed, and manufacturing certainly has changed in all areas, not just in our area, but the factories are not stocking parts. If they need 10 pieces of drywall, they buy 10 pieces of drywall for that day. They're not buying 20 pieces of drywall and letting 10 sit there. We can't drive to the factory and get parts like we could 25 years ago. That stuff in most cases all has to be ordered. So we're not only are you waiting for the service guy to come, but you are probably waiting for a piece's part to repair whatever is damaged or need repaired. That's something also that comes into play. But again, in general, the goal is to make you as happy as we can, and make the house as comfortable as possible, and to follow the guidelines that are written down in the warranty as closely as we can, and to get you the house that you've paid for, and that's our goal. And so the warranty process can be a little frustrating sometimes, and but for the most part, a customer calls in, and we're getting someone in front of that problem within a few days, and certainly even if parts are necessary within a few weeks, everything can be resolved and make everybody happy, and that's the general that's the goal. We've been in business 50 years. I've never been to one of these arbitration hearings. I've never really gone through the HUD process. We've never needed to. We've resolved every problem that we can, and we've never had to go that far, which is a good thing for everybody, not just us, but for the customer as well, and the manufacturer. So it's a little more detailed about warranties, not so much what is and isn't covered, but just the general principle of it, and how we think about it. I hope this was helpful to you. I appreciate you watching all the videos, and we're happy to make them. Thank you.